Explosive revelations that will be the biggest twist in the SSR death probe. What happened on the 8th morning that lays bare that Sushant's sisters had full knowledge of his mental illness. Not only did they know, but his sister Priyanka helped him get prescription drugs illegally. His other sister Neetu, was she aware of his mental condition?
This bipolar. So in that state, I don't think acting is something that I would be able to do.
Was Sushant himself very aware of his own mental well-being? All that on To The Point this evening.
So till now, what we've heard is that from the lawyer of Sushant Singh Rajput's father, repeatedly we've heard that it was Ria who used to drug Sushant. Till now, at least publicly on social media platforms, the sisters of Sushant have maintained that he wasn't suffering from any mental illness. A lot of videos were put out repeatedly to show that he was happy, he was gregarious, which he was in those videos, full of life, jumping around with family, spending quality time, laughing. These videos were also put out by the family to possibly say that all was well with Sushant mentally. However, mental illness is a completely different monster. What you see is what you don't get. But having said that, what India Today has done is, over the last 1 week, we've put together all sorts of evidence which now seems to suggest that Sushant's sisters knew very well that their brother was suffering from a mental illness. Take a look at this.
June 8th, time 10 a.m. Ria Chakrabarti still had not left Sushant's residence. India Today accessed a conversation between Sushant and his sister Priyanka on a messenger chat. Sushant communicating with his sister, where Priyanka tells him to have 3 separate medications. The communication that happened on a messenger app where Priyanka asks the late actor to start with Librium capsule for a week, then start with Nexito 10 mg once every day. Priyanka in the message asks him to keep Lonazep tablet for SOS so that he could use it in case of an anxiety attack. Sushant tells Priyanka that he would need a prescription to buy these medications, which then Priyanka arranges, saying that he doesn't need to worry as it's all confidential. The message raises doubts on how Sushant was being given prescription medication without consulting a doctor himself. Priyanka also tells Sushant that her friend was a renowned doctor and could help Sushant connect some of the best doctors in Mumbai. Priyanka then shares the prescription. Sushant says, "Thank you, Sonadi." This was the to Sushant on the chat by Priyanka. It is from a reputed doctor in Delhi working at the well-known RML hospital. The fact is that the doctor in question, Dr. Tarun Kumar, is not even a psychiatrist, but a cardiologist. The date on it is 8th June. The prescription was written in Delhi while Sushant was in Mumbai. To decode the drugs prescribed illegally, Sushant was prescribed Nexito, a type of antidepressant used to treat anxiety and panic disorders. Librium was also prescribed. It's a sedative and a hypnotic medication for treating anxiety, insomnia, or acute alcohol withdrawal. Lonazep is a prescriptive medication used to treat epilepsy, panic, and anxiety. It decreases excessive activity of nerve cells, helps calm the brain.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to now cut across to a psychiatrist. And we're going to later on tell you exactly what were the other details that have been pouring in, other WhatsApp chats, other chats, which clearly seem to suggest that the family was in the know. I want to go across right now to Dr. Raman Lamba, mental therapist. I also have Devesh, my colleague, who's going to tell us more about these WhatsApp chats and these various chats. I want to cut across to the psychiatrist first. Dr. Raman Lamba, my first question, sir, to you would be, a prescription is written in Delhi, and I'm going to take you through these 3 drugs which this prescription had. But Dr. Lamba, I first want to ask you, can a cardiologist actually write a prescription of these drugs? Because the person who's done this, the doctor who's done this, is not even a psychiatrist but a cardiologist. Is it illegal to do so?
Thank you, Priyanka, for the question. So what I understand about the whole state of mental health and medication as a therapist is primarily a qualified doctor, like a psychiatrist, is only allowed to prescribe any kind of medication. Although when you understand it from the point of view of understanding the chemistry of the brain, the human brain and how it works, a cardiologist would have the understanding. However, having it prescribed for a depression patient, I feel would be contraindicative for the situation that we are talking about.
Definitely cannot. I want to take you through these 3 drugs, and I want to put up those graphics there, Dr. Lamba, before I move on in the bulletin. I want to ask you, are these 3 drugs, you're talking about an Exito, you're talking about a type of an antidepressant. We're going to put out those graphics of what these 3 drugs were. Do you think a cardiologist can actually prescribe these drugs for someone who he hasn't even met or consulted with?
No, absolutely not, because you must understand that these drugs are very, very strong on the human brain, and they actually numb the whole senses and the whole chemistry of the brain to the body. And obviously, depression is a very, very clinical condition which has to be diagnosed, and then we prescribe, medicines are prescribed. Without any diagnosis in hand, just prescribing a medication, like I said before, would be very contraindicative, and also could dip down a person's mental, emotional state of being, a person's sensory neurons and senses to a very, very deep state of probably, just going into a numb state. So
a medicine like Lonazep, a medicine like Librium, are these prescription drugs? What are they used for?
Yes, they're used for mental health, for depression, for sometimes they're used for epileptic seizures to, so when you understand the whole term of depression, a person goes into depression when they've gone through extreme emotional and mental trauma from the past, right? So they're feeling a lot of emotional pain inside, and that is when these medications are given for them to kind of balance the serotonin levels that go imbalanced, the brain chemicals I'm talking about. So giving these drugs without any prescriptions is tampering with the brain chemistry that can actually even go into the wrong side of it.
Stay on with me, because a lot has also been made that he looked fine. Videos have been released which seem to suggest he was happy, he was laughing. I want to talk a little bit more about mental health, especially how there are high-functioning bipolars, there are high-functioning people who are depressive. I want to talk a little bit more about it, but I want to cut across right now to how, over the weeks, there's enough evidence now to suggest that Sushant's family, his sisters, knew very well that there was something wrong in terms of mentally with Sushant, that he wasn't mentally well. Take a look at this.
Proof that Sushant's sister Priyanka not only knew of his mental health but arranged a prescription illegally. Moreover, crucial WhatsApp chats between Sushant's ex-manager Shruti Modi and Sushant's sister Neetu. Neetu knew of Sushant's mental health. The conversation from November 2019 chat reveals that Shruti messaged Neetu the entire prescription or the medication that Sushant was on, antidepressants and medication for schizophrenia prescribed to him. The former manager also shared the number of Sushant's psychiatrist with Neetu. In the last few conversations recorded before Sushant's death, it seemed Sushant himself was aware and in tune of his mental ill health.
I'm just saying that we have seen cases where it has always been a part of the lifestyle. This bipolar. So in that state, I don't think acting is something that I would be able to do.
So far, SSR's family has said they don't know about any mental illness. His lawyer repeatedly has made these claims that it was Ria who was trying to drug him.
हमारा जो FIR है उसके दो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पहलू हैं। सबसे पहला पहलू है कि जो भी उनके मानसिक स्थिति से हो रहा था उस बात की जानकारी उन्होंने फैमिली को कभी नहीं बताई। इस पे कोई क्वेश्चन में नहीं पूछा गया कि आपने परिवार को बताया कि नहीं बताया। सबसे दूसरा अहम सवाल कि आपने 8 तारीख को जब उनको छोड़ दिया तो किसी घर वाले को नहीं बताया कि कोई उनकी मानसिक स्थिति में कोई नाजुकता है। मीडिया में ये बात आ गई है कि व्हाट्सएप चैट में वो उनको सुशांत को ड्रग्स देती थी और वो भी उनके बिना स्वेच्छा के और बिना उनके जानकारी के। तो उनको लगा कि अब इसका जवाब मेरे को देना चाहिए, ये बोल के कि उनकी मानसिक स्थिति खराब थी। 8 को जब वो छोड़ के गई और जिस आदमी की मानसिक स्थिति के बारे में जैसा वो खुद कह रही है, मैं नहीं कह रहा, मैं तो कह रहा हूं उनकी मानसिक स्थिति में कुछ था ही नहीं, जैसा वो खुद कह रही है कि जिस आदमी के मानसिक स्थिति के बारे में सिर्फ वो जानती थी कि उनकी मानसिक स्थिति इतनी खराब है, सिर्फ वो जानती थी कि क्या उनका इलाज चल रहा है, सिर्फ वो जानती थी कि कौन डॉक्टर देख रहा है। जहां उस आदमी की हालत खराब हुई तो उसको डंप करके और उसको छोड़ो चूल्हे पे जाने दो, मैं क्यों इसके लिए परवाह करूं, ये एटीट्यूड है। क्या यही होता है प्यार?
The family repeatedly releasing videos of a happy-looking Sushant, spending time with family, reiterating that he was not suffering from any mental disorder. His sister Shweta has many times on social media stated her brother was not depressed. As per Ria's lawyer, these revealing chats will turn the narrative and show who's lying.
What is shocking is that the sister and the entire family have been in denial. They made a false statement before the Bihar police. They made a false statement before the ED. They made a false statement before the CBI. And worst was that they made submissions before the Supreme Court that it was Ria who was giving him overdose and drugging him, and because of which the death has occurred. And therefore, they submitted that she has looted his 15 crores and taken away all his monies. And the truth has uncanny habit of coming out. And this is coming out from the statements and messages of Sushant's sisters and family members.
The CBI investigation is still on. However, these chats raise uncomfortable questions for those who have believed a single narrative. As new angles emerge, ultimately this case will be trial by fire for all agencies involved to let the truth prevail.
I want to connect right now to my colleague Devesh, who's joining us. Devesh, for the benefit of our viewers, I just want you to put together that over the last 15 days, the WhatsApp chat leaks, the audio leaks, which clearly seem to suggest that the sisters knew very well that Sushant was suffering mentally. In fact, Sushant himself in that audio leak seems to admit that he is suffering mentally.
Yes, Preeti, definitely these WhatsApp chats which have been brought to light by India Today exclusively have confirmed one thing, that Priyanka, the sister of Sushant Singh Rajput, did know about his mental illness. Also, another statement that was brought to light by India Today, which was Samuel Miranda's statement, wherein he says that the three sisters, Neetu and Priyanka, had come to Mumbai and met the actor at Waterstones Resort, where he was staying when he was not well, when he was undergoing treatment in the month of November 2019. And that is when they had come to meet him. And that was because of his mental illness, because he was not feeling well. He was suffering from bouts of depression and anxiety and was also undergoing treatment under medical professionals who were treating him at that point of time. So this fact is confirmed through these messages, through statements that have come to light, where people have told the CBI, the Mumbai police and also the Enforcement Directorate that the family did know about the late actor's mental illness, and that is why they were prescribing medication.
Health, appreciate you joining us, Devesh. Thank you there. I want to now cut across to what the lawyer has been saying and what Ria has been maintaining.
एल्डेस्ट सिस्टर है ओपी सिंह जी की वाइफ, उन्होंने कहा कि मैं सब जानती हूँ मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में, मैंने अपनी मदर का भी टेक केयर किया है एंड आई वाज फीलिंग वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट। और मैंने उन्हें बताया ठीक है मैम, ये लीजिए, ये हैं डॉक्यूमेंट्स, ये हैं प्रिस्क्रिप्शंस, ये हैं डॉक्टर्स के नंबर, ये हैं दवाइयाँ, आप प्लीज टच में रहिएगा।
हमारा जो एफआईआर है उसके दो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पहलू हैं। सबसे पहला पहलू है कि जो भी उनके मानसिक स्थिति से हो रहा था उस बात की जानकारी उन्होंने फैमिली को कभी नहीं बताई। सबसे दूसरा अहम सवाल कि आपने 8 तारीख को जब उनको छोड़ दिया तो किसी घर वाले को नहीं बताया कि कोई उनकी मानसिक स्थिति में कोई नाजुकता है, और अगर है तो किस तरह की है, क्या इलाज चल रहा है, मेडिकल फाइल देके जाती, हैंडओवर करके जाती, आपने नहीं किया।
Very briefly right now, bring in Dr. Lamba once again before we let her go. Dr. Lamba, a lot has been made by the, forget about what the case is, but videos have been released of, say, Sushant, which show him laughing, which show him gregarious, which show him, be happy, which show him happy. I want you to maybe, tell our viewers a little bit more on what mental health is. Can a person be completely functional, highly functional, working, happy, but still suffer from mental illness and still actually suffer to a point where he just feels that there is no outlet?
When you understand mental health, it's a real thing. Depression is very, very real for the person who's going through it. So it's like, you're actually trapped in a very, very dark basement where you just can't seem to see the light of it. Smiling, being happy in those moments is really not possible because, you're so disconnected and disengaged because you're dealing with a very internal state and you feel you're trapped in a spot where you just can't see the light of the day. So people who are suffering from mental health, depression, clinical depression, who are under medication definitely are absolutely in a numb state.
But Dr. Lamba, you hear a lot of terms called high functioning bipolars, high functioning depressive, people who are doing spectacularly well in their lives but are suffering as well.
Yes, so currently we are talking about clinical depression here, and bipolarity also is more of a behavior disorder where when we're talking about these medicines that really come, bipolar eventually leads to a depressive disorder.
All right, appreciate.
So a bipolar person can lead to a depressive state.
All right,
but when a person is...
All right, Dr. Lamba, appreciate you joining us. Thank you there. I want to now cut across for the very latest in terms of investigation to Shams Tahir Khan. And it seems, Shams, that right now the CBI investigation is pointing towards suicide and not the theory of murder. What more can you add?
जी प्रीति, देखिए सीबीआई जो सोर्सेज ने बताया वो ये है कि लास्ट 13 डेज 20 अगस्त को सीबीआई की टीम यहाँ पहुंची थी और 21 को उन्होंने अपना इन्वेस्टिगेशन चालू किया था। तमाम लोगों से पूछताछ हुई, सीन रिक्रिएट किया गया। जो 4 सबसे मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट विटनेस हैं जो 13 और 14 जून को सुशांत के घर पे थे, उनके साथ थे, उन सबसे पूछताछ की गई, फॉरेंसिक एविडेंस देखे गए। इस वक्त लेटेस्ट ये है कि सीबीआई का ये कहना, जो सोर्सेज है हमारे, कि अभी तक 13 दिन की इन्वेस्टिगेशन में मर्डर की कोई थ्योरी, उससे रिलेटेड कोई सबूत हमें नहीं मिला। अभी तक क्या मिला है तो ये इशारा कर रहा है सुसाइड, और उस सुसाइड के साथ दूसरा जो पार्ट है अबेटमेंट ऑफ सुसाइड, कि क्या ये खुदकुशी के लिए किसी ने मजबूर किया, उसके बारे में इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है। और उसके साथ ही ये भी है कि क्या रिया चक्रवर्ती, चूंकि एफआईआर में नामजद है, 306 के तहत ये पूरा केस चल रहा है, उनका क्या रोल है, क्या सुशांत की मौत से वो डायरेक्ट लिंक है उनका, वो जुड़ी हुई है, इस चीज़ की जांच हो रही है। लेकिन फिर मैं कहूँगा आपको कि अभी तक की इन्वेस्टिगेशन में जब से सीबीआई मुंबई पहुंची है, उनको मर्डर का एक भी क्लू और सबूत नहीं मिला है। लेकिन साथ ही ये भी है कि आगे अगर ऐसे सबूत मिलते हैं तो वो उस थ्योरी पे भी जांच करेंगे। लेकिन इस वक्त की लेटेस्ट रिपोर्ट यही है कि सीबीआई इस पूरे मामले को सुसाइड और अबेटमेंट ऑफ सुसाइड की नज़र से देखकर उसी हिसाब से जांच आगे बढ़ा रही है। प्लीज
Shams, बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे जुड़ने का. Appreciate you joining us, Shams. So there you have it. Till now, at least we've given you both angles. The CBI, at one end, in terms of investigation, is leaning towards the suicide theory and not murder theory. And what we just told you earlier, multiple pieces of evidence now coming in together. The jigsaw puzzle clearly coming in together, which suggests the family knew very well. Sushant's sisters knew very well that their brother was suffering mentally. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.